Science at Macaulay Honor College, CUNY. And Lisa Blondes is a Director of Teaching and Learning and Technology at Macaulay Honor College.
We are going to present our Science Forward OER today, our talk is Making Science Sense Using Interdisciplinary Science Forward Open Educational Resource to Promote Scientific Literacy. So, an overview of Science Forward, which you've maybe been to one of our presentations, you might know about, maybe not. I'll give a little background. Science Forward was developed at Macaulay in 2013, and continues to be developed, to replace and revamp their required science seminar there, with an eye to focusing on the scientific skills that all scientists use when they do their science. So instead of having a bunch of different, we have 28 sections of this course, instead of having each one of them be like a little different field of science, or students were getting a bunch of different experiences, we decided to refocus this requirement to be focused on the actual skills that these scientists employ. So instead of having a botany course that some students are required to go to, this is a more general interdisciplinary science course. To reinforce that these skills aren't common, so that you have a list of the science sense skills in front of you, this is just a sampling, there are more of them. To reinforce that they're common, the course is interdisciplinary. So we have life and physical sciences represented, so students can see that, yes, you can make a model you can model the climate, and you can model evolution of bacterial resistance in a petri dish. Even though those are different fields of science, you still have to have that same mindset when you're making that model. You need to know what you're assuming, you need to know what the variables are. So we want the students to sort of get this sense of what science is and what it does and how it makes progress. To do that, we have the skills-focused interdisciplinary course. We will talk about the tools that we have put together in this OER. The course is active, and there's an experiential component because we think it's important that our students do some science to get a fuller understanding of science. Oops.
He's like, where's my slide? Okay, so in order to facilitate this, we've done a couple of things. We have made a series of, right now, 14 short introductory videos. Laura's in one of them. A few of them, you're in a few of them. We're going to show every single one of those right now. And we have, but it's not just videos that we have. We've had a couple people say like, oh, they're just videos, I can show them in my class, but what's interesting about that? What is interesting about it is, first of all, we have videos that show not only kind of like a topical introduction, but the way that scientists do work. You have a list in front of you of all of the many, mainly CUNY scientists who have come together to be part of this, and we've also had feedback from students that they really enjoy being able to see their own professors and other faculty from CUNY representing science to them in these videos. But we also have a website that has a really full complement of materials to help facilitate classroom use. So we have the videos there, but for them, we also have sample syllabi for how to put a course together using the Science Forward materials. We have digital tools like citizen science projects that people can become involved in. And we have a full complement of resources for using the videos, such as suggested paired readings. What we really wanted to do with the videos was not just make a kind of passive delivery method. We've also had people say like, well, if you're all about active classrooms, why are you doing videos? The videos are really short. They're kind of little teaser introductions so that people can get a taste of them. And then depending on what kind of class you teach, what your subject is, what the level of your students are, you can tailor that. So for really advanced students, you might go straight to primary sources in referee journals. For students who are encountering it as introductory material, they might do something that is a little bit more of like a layman introduction to something and reading from newspapers and things like that. The idea is that no matter who your students are or what they are doing, that there's a way that you can use this to facilitate common conversation across a wide variety of students. And so what we want to do today is focus on how you can use videos, like the most passive of delivery methods for getting content to students, as a catalyst for really active learning. Kelly, do you want to talk a little bit more about the videos themselves?
Okay, so here's just 6 of them. You can see that there are both life and physical sciences. We have water, geology, urban ecology, drug development, and then we have some that are explicitly focused on sort of tools. So we have this tools of seeing, just like microscopes and telescopes, which also introduces the skill of colloquial uncertainty and how a student might just say, well, people are uncertain, so they think they don't know. All of the videos feature, like Lisa said, a lot of community scientists, but the scientists being interviewed, talking about the skills that they use when they do their science. And they also have some animations that illustrate some points, and they highlight the skills that we think are the ones you can focus on with the videos, but of course, there are so many of these skills, you could really sort of use any of them together. So we're gonna watch.
I'll just say, the other thing that we really like about the videos is they're completely modular. You do not have to adopt this as a course. You can take these videos and put them into different courses. My field is English, so they're actually great for any kind of expository writing course that you're gonna do that deals with information about science in it. So any class can pick up pieces. You don't have to adopt it full on from the very beginning.
Right, so we're gonna watch one of these, urban ecology, because it's my favorite. I'm an ecologist. We're only gonna watch a little part of it. We'd like everyone to sort of think about how you might use this in your class, whatever class that might be. So we're gonna watch a little clip. I don't think it's going to work from here. Let's see. No, so we have it open. Should be, let's go somewhere.
What would you consider to be natural? Take a look at this environment. There's been a lot of landscaping by local residents, by Castor canadensis, the North American beaver. Their landscaping tool of choice? Their teeth. They gnaw branches and trees, they create dams, and in doing so, they create new habitat for amphibians and fish, and they also displace residents that used to live there. Insects, mammals, few organisms on this planet can change the landscape the way that beavers can. Humans, of course, are another notable example. And there's a course of study devoted to understanding this interaction between the human-made built environment of the city and the non-human residents. It's called urban ecology.
The definition of ecology is how organisms interact with each other and with the environment in which they live. So urban ecology is how organisms interact with their environment in an urban setting. If you had learned about ecology several decades ago, you'd be going to, the rainforest in South America or some natural environment somewhere. No ecologist would have even dreamed of doing anything in the city. That's not where ecology happened, apparently. Ecology happens everywhere. People were always separated from nature, and that's part of what's gotten us into some of the trouble we're in right now. Ecology was seen as being done somewhere remote, pristine, natural. People were not part of the ecology, and we've learned in the last bunch of decades that that's just not right. That's not how it works. People are part of the environment. We are part of the ecosystem. Ecology does happen in urban areas. It's very important for the landscape, for us, for everyone involved.
Ecosystem services refer to all the benefits a healthy functioning ecosystem brings to us. We drink fresh water in New York City that really is basically unfiltered in many cases because the water has been cleaned by going through the ecosystems north of the city. Pollination is another ecosystem service. 1/3 of the crops we eat are pollinated by insects and birds. The other is by wind, which is another ecosystem service.
In ecology, we're learning the urban environment is just as important as any other environment. A scientist is someone who goes out, learns things, is curious about things, and then comes up with questions based on observations that they've made. In the case of an urban ecologist, me, for instance, I go out to parks here in the city, I go to natural areas in the city, just walking around the city, there's ecology everywhere. We have major influences on the urban ecosystem. We change the environment around us. A lot of the natural processes that happen get altered.
One of the subjects urban ecologists study is species composition. In other words, which species live where, and what factors influence those populations. American Museum of Natural History postdoc Mark Weckel studies that question here in Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. He's specifically interested in coyotes and what role humans have played in their recent immigration to NYC.
Van Cortlandt is one of several parks that my colleagues and I have been monitoring for several years. We use camera traps as our main tool, which is basically a camera that's triggered by the movement of a warm-bodied animal. And so it basically takes pictures of whatever walks by. In this case, it runs all night, all day, and there's no delay. So it takes a picture anytime an animal is triggering it. And it also takes 5 photographs in a row. So what the beautiful thing is we've got almost what you call near video photography of images of coyote moms with their pups. And I have pictures from the Bronx of deer sparring, which I think is pretty cool. So
we're going to stop there. And since we told you we're all about active classrooms, we're going to make you do an activity. So if you're not sitting near somebody, please do. We're going to do a little think, pair, share. So if you want to take just a minute to jot down any ideas about how you think you might be able to use these materials in a class that you are teaching, then we'll give you some time to share with a partner, and then we'll open it up to discussion. We've done a lot of thinking, pairing, and sharing over the past couple of years, and we've consolidated that on the website.
Right. So for each of the videos, if you go to the resources area, there you can see that each of, and also if you're on the video page, it links to this as well as a video transfer of the video and download the video or stream it, either one. But you can also get to this page. And so each of the videos has a very brief description. The design senses that we think are the most prominent, but again, this is really flexible. And then some things from over the years of doing science forward that I've done in class. So, for example, for the urban ecology video, sometimes I will focus specifically on doing science in the city, and so I have my students write grant proposals. So we're focusing on experimental design there, we're focusing on doing science in the city. We don't spend a huge amount of, the normal amount of time you would spend on a grant proposal, but the students get a sense of the idea, like, of what you actually have to do to plan an experiment. Usually what I do, one of the readings that I pair with that are, for Macaulay, for honor students, I pair them with peer-reviewed literature from somebody that's done something in the city. So that's that idea. Sometimes I'll focus on the ecosystem services, where if I want the students to, if we're focusing more on number sense, I try to have the students estimate the monetary value of some ecosystem service of their choice. And so we get into estimation, we get into orders of magnitude, and like I said, there's, depending on which direction you're going, you can match the 3 things that are most appropriate. A lot of these have links to other OERs, some OER textbooks, that we think go nicely with each of the videos, so that is all here on the site.
And some of the things that we do with our students, every year we have a BioBlitz for them, which is a very large event that we do. We know that not everybody can pull off something like that. But there are a lot of suggestions on the site for different citizen science projects that students become involved with, so that they can get outside, that they can experience different things, and they can contribute to large data sets that then they can use. Oh, sorry. Here's a sampling of some of the citizen science projects we have there. And so just like our students use their BioBlitz data, your students can use projects that they do with this to do some kind of a culminating event. For our students, we have a mini scientific conference where they come and present posters so that they go through the entire process of science throughout the semester. So with the remaining few minutes that we have, we'd love to hear some of your ideas about how you might be able to use this, and also take any questions that you have.
So what did you guys come up with?
We heard a lot of talking, so you know something.
Yeah. Let's do the share.
Well, it's funny, I took up way too much of their time. But I was pleased that you mentioned estimating costs, because that's sort of what I was bringing up. That's highly relevant to me, these kinds of, but from the other end. And it's something that requires other disciplines. My discipline would be more accounting, finance, auditing, but the underlying data, the principles involved and such, can't be done without somebody with scientific expertise.
Right, so you can talk about what assumptions you're making when you're making these estimates, what data you actually have, so it really does open up a good place to discuss and also calculate. So that's, yeah, great. Anyone else?
Next week, we just started ecology and general biology.
and why you need a physical model or a computer model that is trying to figure out that shape, or sort of a more mathematical model where you're simulating some part of the climate, and you're making predictions about temperature increase. So it's models in sort of the broader, both mathematical and physical, and sort of the skill there is, well, why you need them, what assumptions you make, what variables go into them, where are the data, how reliable are the predictions, so all the things you need to think about when you think about modeling anything.
And the climate change video, if you look at that one, has a pretty good discussion of how models are used, and Cynthia Rosenzweig, who's one of the scientists featured in it, actually talks about like what's a model, what isn't a model, and why it's important for doing scientific work.
Right, that's for a mathematical one. For if you're thinking about physical models and computer modeling of molecules, that's in the drug discovery video.
Yeah, one for measuring uncertainty. How do you do that? Measuring uncertainty.
So that's when we talk about statistics usually, and so we talk about what error bar. If you see a figure and has error bars on it, what do those actually mean? And what does it mean when a scientist says they're uncertain, or when like NASA says that this year is the hottest year on record with some amount of uncertainty? Why can you still be confident that they know what they're talking about, even though they say that there's that uncertainty there? So getting students to understand the difference between what a scientist means when they say they're uncertain, or when a model has some associated uncertainty, versus when you just say, I'm uncertain about this, or whatever, is another important science-forward, science-sense skill. Any other question? I think we have a minute. No? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah. Any other ideas or questions you guys have about this?
And if anybody's interested in implementing part of this in your classroom, we're really happy to talk to you. We can come and have a meeting with you or a phone call. We can also provide materials to help get that launched for you. So please feel free to reach out. You can reach us on the bottom of your sheet. It has the site that you can find everything. It's cuny.is/scienceforward, which is really nice and easy to remember. And if you have ideas that you want to contribute, if you've used the materials and you have great lesson plans and you want to put them onto the repository we have on the site, we absolutely welcome that and any kind of community participation that you would like to contribute.